Today we're gonna learn a new lesson, and in this lesson I will talk about JSP scripting elements and directives. And in the first part of this lesson, I'd like to explain the concept of Java server page, or shortly JSP. So far, we have learned how to use Java servlets to create web applications. We have learned how to use servlet to generate HTML content using the method printLine of class printWriter. And now today we're gonna learn how to use JSP in web application. In theory, servlets can be used to create any web application, but after a few homeworks and labs, you'll probably realize that it doesn't seem to be a good idea to use servlet to generate HTML pages, or in particular using printLine method to write HTML content to the response is not a good idea. Why? Because it's tedious and error prone to generate HTML content using printLine. You know, HTML tag is treated in servlets as a Java string, and it's very easy to forget to escape a quote or missing a closing tag. And there are no syntax highlighting or auto error detection to help you, right? And besides, both code for processing and code for displaying are mixed together. So graphic designers, to design the user interface of the web application, will have to know Java to create the design instead of using tool that he or she familiar with, like Dreamweaver. So this problem is not limited to Java. In fact, all web technologies must deal with the same problem, that is how to generate HTML content in an efficient way. Whether you are using Java or ASP or PHP or something else, then the solution turns out to be the same, that we should separate code for presentation from the code for processing, and we use HTML page as a template, and then add code to the page to produce dynamic content in Java, and this is called Java server page, or JSP. Okay, now so let's take a look at some examples of JSP. First of all, please notice that a JSP page can contain both Java code and HTML content, or it can also contain only HTML content, as in this case. As you see in this example, the content of the JSP page is just the HTML content. And if we run this page, we run this page, and so the return is a JSP without JavaScript. The current time is 6 p.m. So that's this part of the page. And please notice that this page is placed under the folder web content, so we can access it directly by typing the name of the page here. So if you refresh this page many times, the current time is still 6 p.m. That's because this is the static content. So you see here, this one is the static content. It's not the dynamic content. So how to change this static content into the dynamic content so that um, it will display the actual time. So in order to do that, we can add some Java code to this example. So now I would like to change this static content, this static time to the dynamic content. And in order to do that, I use the Java code like this. And in this code, I use the constructor of the date class, and this class is in the package Java until, and I embed this Java code into the regular HTML content. So notice that in this file we have two type of content. The first one is the static content, which is the regular HTML content, and the second one is the Java code, which is embedded into the regular HTML content. So this is a typical JSP file. And okay, so let's run this file. Okay, so now we create the new version of the JSP file, and we new JSP file here, and this one is hello JSP2. Okay, and finish. Okay, and we pass the content here, and we run this application again, run as and run on server, and finish. Okay, we type the name of the file, hello JSP2 JSP, and so here you can see that the time now is dynamic. So if we refresh this page, then the time displayed here will be the real time, the real current time. So if I press refresh here, so you can see the time here changes. So that's because this code, okay, and this one is dynamic content, and that's it for the version 2 of hello JSP.jsp. And the difference between this file and the previous file is that in this version we have the dynamic content, which is the Java code embedded into the regular HTML content. So some observations for the hello JSP2.jsp file. And the first observation is that we don't need to use printWriter.println to generate HTML content, right? Here we use a template, and the HTML content is automatically generated based on this template. Okay, so every HTML content you type here will be returned to the web browser, and the Java code here can be calculated or evaluated and return the and embed the result into the HTML content and uh, return both the result and the HTML content here to the response which is displayed in the web browser. And so by this way we can avoid the tedious and error-prone problem. Okay, and the second observation is that we can use an HTML file as a template to generate HTML content, and because of that we can use visual tools like Dreamweaver to design HTML pages which is returned to the browser. And because of this we can make the web application more easily. Okay, so and the third observation is that again, this is the formula of the JSP page. A JSP page includes two types of contents, and the first one is the dynamic content, which is the Java code embedded here, embedded in the page like this. And the second one is the static content, which is the HTML template or the HTML content here. So please remember this formula, and that's all for the concept of JSP file. And this is the end of this part of the lesson about JSP scripting elements and directives.